Whoa! I'm Bill Meyer, and I'm manager of Northwest Life Funds. And today, I want to talk to you about what I think is one of the most unknown asset classes that you could invest in today. And it's probably one you should consider, but hey, that's up to you. But, there are some investors out there that you might have heard of. Let's say Bill Gates, Warren Buffett, Berkshire Hathaway. They've invested billions of dollars in life settlements. And maybe you might want to consider putting a little bit into it too. But what's a white life settlement? Life settlement is somebody that it's an individual that wants to sell his policy, and he's looking for somebody who's willing to buy that policy. And it's done on a market just like, kind of like, it's more like real estate than anything else. But again, they buy and sell these things continuously. They call it the secondary market, and if it's between investor groups, it's a tertiary market. But they're consistently being bought and sold. But why would they do this? I mean, it's $15 billion. Why would they do it? The answer is because it makes money for both the buyer and the seller. Let me underline that again. It makes money. Okay, so let's talk about it as a market. What kind of market is this thing? I liken it close to real estate. So if you go buy a house today and you go you ask them to look for a house for you, what's going to happen? They're going to identify half a dozen houses. Not one of them is going to be the same, just like life insurance. They're not the same. No life insurance policy is the same. And the same thing holds for real estate. You may pay more for one house with the same square footage as another. For what reason? It's the same thing with life insurance. You pay more for certain kinds of policies, certain death benefits, than you do for another. And it's based on supply and demand. Okay, so, but why do it in the first place? Why go through all this headache? I mean, you could put your money in the stock market. The reason they do it is pretty simple, is that life insurance, and you buy something, they have an expectation and have a history of making somewhere right around 8 to 10% compounded return. That's not bad. Now, not only that, it's not subject to the vagaries of the economy. Interest rates can change, stock markets can crash, real estate markets can go down. Guess what? Life expectancy doesn't change very much, and it's pretty consistent. So, and it's biology, so it's very consistent. So you're getting an 8-10% consistent rate of return. On top of that, these insurance companies are anywhere from AAA down to A plus they're way above investment grade, and so they're very safe. And then underneath that is you have this state guarantee pool that guarantees the death benefit against the insurance company going out of business due to a bankruptcy. They're gonna make sure that this thing is whole for the death benefit to protect the widows and orphans that are out there. Okay, so it's a great tool. It's what I see is it's so similar to real estate in the way that if you go out there and you go try to buy a house. I know a lot of my clients are now pushing at 80, and so they're really tired of real estate. They're selling it. Same thing's happening to other people where they're getting to that same age. They have this life insurance. They don't want it. They're selling it as well because you can take it to cash. You can live off it. So it's not, you don't have to die to get that benefit. So the other thing it has is that life insurance in general, it really works well with like real estate or the stock market. And the reason it does is because, remember, it makes that same 8% regardless of what the market does. So if you invested, let's say, a 50% in bonds and 50% in the stock market, bonds make about 2%, stock market makes about 8%. You're now netting about 4.5 to 5. Guess what? That's not very great. Nobody gets excited about a 5% return on investment for the level of risk. But if you use life settlements as part of that, as a bond component, you're getting a full 8% return. And it actually improves the return for you, the net of the investor, or you, the investor. The other thing that it does is it makes the underlying investments work better. So let's say, if, for fun, that you buy a life insurance policy. Not saying you have to, but hey, you buy $1 million piece of property and you buy $1 million worth of life insurance, and you can do that very easily. And you die the next day. Guess what? You have $2 million in an asset, and at some point in the future, you'll be able to sell that. So you really are working with a full $2 million, and you buy that commitment for cents on the dollar. It's just too good of a deal. So one of the questions I hear is, why is it that my stockbroker isn't telling me all about these things? Well, the reason is pretty simple, but it's convoluted. It is, like everything else, is the stock brokerage community. They cannot sell what they don't offer. They can't go out and buy it from somebody else. They have to buy it from what they have to sell. So stockbrokers, let's say a Merrill Lynch, might need 500 million of assets or of investments to send out to their distribution system. This is too small. You can't get those kind of, buy all those policies and get a significant amount of return where they would be comfortable. So they don't. And the brokers can't sell it to you either, and they don't want to talk about it. They'll sell you something else, but they won't do that. But what about life insurance companies? They are the ones that really should be selling this. Well, the answer about that is that life insurance companies, sadly, want you to pay premiums your whole life, and the day before you die, they want you to cancel the policy. You think I'm kidding? I'm not. In fact, what they used to do up to about 2 years ago is they required their own agents, under penalty of termination of contract and significant forfeiture of assets, of their personal assets, to not talk about life settlements. Until the states got involved in it, and they prohibited them from doing that, but it's what they did. So they could not offer it to you either. So, what are you going to, what can I do for you today to let you ask questions? We need to start a conversation about life settlements and how they might affect you and how that might be a good deal for you or may not be. Either way, it's okay, but you gotta ask the question. So you do that by down here at the bottom somewhere, there's going to be a little button. Click on the button and let's start a conversation. You can also send me an email, call. It doesn't matter. But I do appreciate your time, and you have a great day. Thank you so much. Cheers.